What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today I'm gonna talk about obviously Destiny and some of the changes going in towards the new season and the whole kind of like sniper nerf and changes with other weapons. And the thing is, to like the reason to why everyone used snipers for bosses is because bosses and like other like mini bosses and some special enemies all have a stomp mechanics that if you're too close you're gonna be knocked away, and so obviously you can't use a shotgun or a sword against them because you're gonna get knocked the fuck away. The other reason is because most of the bosses, especially in raid, are too far away from you to actually use a sword or a shotgun. Some are in the air, like in the Garden of Salvation, Eater of World. How are you supposed to use sniper or swords or shotgun? Like Garden was built for like sniper users. I guess linear fusion, but maybe you can deal enough, like enough damage now with line in the sand and the firing line. Maybe, I don't know, because I haven't tried. But everyone is using Izzy there because he's too far away to use any other thing. Same with Callus, he's too far away. You have the one from Crown of Souls, the Galrand. He has a freaking wall in front of him, so you have to shoot him, and also you have to shoot him in the head and the hands. So again, you can't use a shotgun or anything. So I don't understand why they're nerfing those snipers and saying like, oh, they are too used or whatever. Of course they used when you don't allow us to use any other things. Like if you remove Stomp, for example, I think you will see a lot more shotguns and swords because they can actually be used now. It's super irritating that pretty much every enemy has a Stomp. So you know that's the reason to why we're using sniper rifles, not because they're freaking overpowered or anything. It's because we don't really have any other options. The next thing is the swords. I've heard it, but I don't know if it's true. But apparently, you can't really use your heavy attack like over and over again. You apparently have to use your light attack to charge up a heavy. And if that's the case, that's gonna ruin swords. They're gonna make them completely worthless. And I don't really understand. I have a Throne Cleaver that is from Nashville. It's pretty much a god roll around only using heavy because I have one that every third heavy gives me ammo, and I also have some third, or not I have third, but so heavy deals more damage. I have impact and everything, all around based, all based around using heavy. And if you have to charge it up, then that's gonna be useless. I don't know if you can still use it, but if you charge it up, you're gonna deal more damage. I'm not entirely sure how it works, and that might not even be the case. What I thought, first thought, is that you will use an energy like meter to block things instead of using ammo or whatever. As is now, if you block with a sword, you're gonna lose ammo. So maybe I thought they would make an energy meter so you start losing energy instead of ammo, but I don't know. I haven't really read into it, but you know. The other thing I've heard is Aura is getting buffed about 3+ in damage, which I don't really believe, but there was, you know, I just saw it, so I hope that's not true, because if that's the case, our rifles ain't gonna get used that much more if that's just 3+ damage. I highly doubt that that's the case. I think it's gonna be a lot more than 3+, because 3+ would do fuck all. Like literally nothing. So yeah, like if they remove stomps, people will use swords and shotgun more. Also, if they don't fuck up swords by making it to have to use light attack in order to be able to use a heavy attack. Because if that's the case, no one's gonna use swords. Even less people are gonna use swords, like because swords aren't really that used now. So if they make that, it's gonna get even less used. So the fuck. Next thing is the faction things. I honestly don't like that they just, I don't know, were so disrespectful with the whole thing, saying that, oh, no one used their weapons, we're not gonna take them back. I know you all wanted it. Why the fuck would we want faction backs if we didn't like their weapons? Like, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for us to sit there and say like, hey, we want faction back. For months, maybe a year we had said that. And then for them to like, oh, you didn't use the weapon, fuck you, we ain't gonna do that. And then turn around and say like, oh, we're gonna bring back some, but it's gonna be fan favorite, picked one. Meaning, if you've already gotten some of the faction weapons, I have some faction weapons, meaning if some of those come back that you already have, you're fucked. You ain't gonna get anything new. For example, I don't have anything from Dead Orbit because I didn't really do Dead Orbit. I don't know why. I have some from Future War Cult and New Monarchy, but not all of them. So if some of them, for example, the ones I have come back, for example, Luquitor 4, I've used this quite often now, but if it comes back, that ain't gonna do nothing for me, because I already have it. This is why we want the factions to come back, just in general, not because like we want a weapon, but also they come with shaders, emblems, ship, ghost shells, sparrows. Future War Cult actually had an exotic ornament for the Knucklehead Radar. It has this one, and obviously I don't know if they're gonna bring this one back. All I've heard is it's gonna bring back some weapons that's picked from fan favorite, and that's the case. You can't really get this one. I don't know why I activated that. Like, it looks a little bit better, but you know, you can get that then. There is sparrows, there's ships, ghost shells, as I said. There's multiple weapons. There's a scout rifle that looks really nice. I don't know if I can do this to show it. There it is. This one looks pretty nice, and it's from New Monarchy, and you know, I can't get this unless, you know, it's a fan favorite picked one and comes back. There's a lot from all of them from Dead Orbit that, you know, you no longer can get because, well, I mean, it's not in there, and maybe none of them were good enough for people to actually pick. I have no idea what people are gonna pick, so you know. And also, will they come back in this state, or are they gonna come back in like the 2.0 version where they have randomized perks? In a way, I kind of want them as they were in the default, so I can always, you know, it's more for, I guess, collection, and a lot of it bit for the actual like novelty, I guess, because, you know, that's how they were. But if they're gonna be randomized, I can't say that's too bad, but it would be nice to experience them as they were. And again, if you're going to make them randomized, why even pick like fan favorite ones? Like, that makes no sense. So they are gonna come back. They have to come back as default, right? Because otherwise it doesn't matter if they're fan favorite, they're gonna have randomized perks or not. It's just so stupid in my opinion. Like, sure, you might not use these because there's better options, and you know, also because it's year one and stuff, you can mod them. That's also why people don't really use them nowadays. If that's what they meant, like when they say, oh, people don't use them, I don't know if they meant now or back then. If it was back then, I pretty much think that some people use them. I used some of them. They're, you know, if you're talking about now, obviously no one's gonna use them because the year one and you can mod them. Back then, again, like, if people didn't really use them, isn't that kind of your fault for making kind of crappy weapons? Like, you could have, you know, instead of stopping right there and say like, nah, no one used them, we're not gonna bring them back, fucking change them then. Made them better. Or make them better, not made them. So, you have that. I've also heard that you can't really upgrade certain armor pieces to a certain rank. I think you had to like switch to another rank or armor set or whatever. It's gonna be different now with the season. I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work. Which are gonna be considered upgradable, I guess, to like max, or what isn't. So I don't know, like all these sets I have now, which is 970, will I not be able to take them up to like 1000, for example, because they're from this season? Can I only take the other season and take them up to 1000? Like, I don't understand exactly how that will work, or why the fuck that would even matter, or why you would even do that. And by the way, now you can see my Sparrow ad. This is a future war called Sparrow. It's an alright one, but again, like, if it is only weapons coming back, and that's the emblem as well, you can't really get them. Yeah, you can't get these. And there was more to it. There was also like catalyst. Obviously you can get them now. Emblems, Sparrow, ships, shaders. Maybe shaders can come on a weapon, so you can at least get that. Maybe, I don't know if they're gonna bring back armor sets or not, because there are some armor sets, there are some armor ornament sets. Factions, here we go. This from Monarchy, I didn't get all of them, but that's the default set. Here's their ornament set, here's Future War Cult, here's the ornament set, and it looks pretty nice. I will say that this one looks actually pretty nice. The sad thing with this is that you can only apply these to the Future War Cult armor set. I can't put them on any normal legendary, which is kind of a shame. The same thing is with Vanguard. You have these. Actually, no, you can put it on this armor set. The Vanguard set you can put on Vanguard armor set, because, well, that's how it is, I guess. Or ornament armor set. And I really wish they would make them universal ornament set instead of just being locked to that type of armor set. So you're gonna miss these out unless they come back. I heard that armor is also coming back, but I'm not too sure. The first thing was weapons. Then my friend, you said, oh, armor's coming back, but I don't know about that. If that is the case, then that's nice. It also depends on, you know, if it's gonna be fan-picked or if it's gonna be all of them. Because if it's all of them, I might be able to get the rest of these two ornament sets. If ornaments even come back, I have no idea if the ornaments will come back, or if it's just the armor themselves. So this shaders from activity, I believe. No tower. You go War Cult. There's 4 of them. The Monarchy. There's 4 of them. There should be Dead Orbit right here, but since I didn't do Dead Orbit, there's probably 5 of them as well. You have the emblems, as I said. If I can find them. Factions. Yeah, there's the Future War Cult. There's the New Monarchy. And Dead Orbit should also be here, but since I don't have it, obviously can't take it. And the Dead Orbit actually looks pretty cool. So does the weapons. I'm just disappointed I didn't do them. There's also another Future War Cult emblem. I don't know, from a different season. This is from season 3. The other one might be from season 2 or so. So there's another one, which looks pretty cool as well. So again, I don't know if it's just gonna be the weapons or everything. Like a mixture, maybe some weapons, but all the armor sets, emblems and shaders. Although I don't know how emblems will work, since they were just tracking the amount of packages or your rank, I guess, from those factions. I don't think they will come back. Shaders I can see, they could be randomly dropped or spawned on a weapon, so I can definitely see that. The weapon, obviously. The Sparrows and ship might be in some Bright Dust Engram or Bright Engram or whatever they're gonna be called. You got these one now. They're Found Memories Engram. I don't know. Yeah, Bright Engram. So they might be there. I'm not entirely sure. Also, there's gonna be Curse with Cyrus. I was really disappointed with that. I never played it. Apparently it's from D1. I never played D1. But hearing like, hey, Trials is coming back, and then in the Shadowkeep launch trailer, they actually have the Warlock with the Trials of the Nine armor set on, which apparently they claim to have been a mistake, you know, in the biggest quotation marks you can ever see. It's just kind of weird, annoying, and that they were like, oh, we're so excited to bring fucking Osiris. It's like, oh, fun. And also, you know how they say it, like, oh, faction ain't coming back, so you know that's a really great way to start it, you know. Great. So I obviously got really disappointed with that, and because of that I really don't look forward to it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but the other thing I really don't look forward to as well is farming for the ritual weapons, and I guess it is because I'm a little bit let down with the choices they made. So I don't understand why they have such a hard problem listening to their players. Uh, I highly doubt that there were that many people who are against factions and that there were that many people who were against Trials of 9. I don't think so. I think there was a lot more people who wanted those two back, way more than there were those who were opposed. So yeah, I don't really like that at all. Don't understand it. Not for the new activity that's gonna be. I've heard it's gonna be like a escalation protocol type of activity, because we're tired of, I think a lot of people were tired of this menagerie style that we've had with Vex Offensive and Sandal. I will say that Vex Offensive, although I thought it was really shit during it, like when I was playing it and all that, looking back at it now, it was a lot better than Sundial. I will say that the Sundial had better reward system, where you could get up to 5 at the end, instead of you just being able to get around 1. Although there was, I think, 3 shots, so you could have gotten 3 per round, maybe 4 if you had a weapon frame, so you were almost there, but since it was random, you couldn't just pick as you did with these and Obelisk. It was maybe a little bit shittier, but yeah. But as I said, looking back, it was also easier, mainly because it was with Shadowkeep, and people obviously wouldn't have been higher ranks, so the enemies were still around your level, maybe a little bit higher. But because of that, it was a lot easier. It was a little bit more fun to actually do, because Sundial has the enemies being really high level, so they can handle they can take a lot of damage, and they deal so much damage. It's not that fun to just sit there and shoot in a couple of mags only for them to kill you in like 2 to 3 shots or something like that. It's like, oh, fun. So also didn't help that the seal or the triumphs for this season was more around obelisks than the actual event, which is really strange. I believe there's these 5 for the season, and I believe this, where is it, like 14? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 16. So 11 were around other stuff, and 5 was around Obelisk, or not Obelisk, guys, the actual Sundial. And they weren't really the hard one. It was like, hey, kill the boss, kill the different like Scion elemental type ones, do one flawlessly, do one legendary, and do one within 14 minutes, and that was it. Whilst Vex Offensive had way more. They had to kill the boss 3 times, the last one, do encounters 100 times. The warp gate close, I guess that is to kill the boss or something, I don't know. Get kills with every single type of weapons. Well, actually not every single type, but a lot of different weapons. Then there was precision with these 2, multi-kills with these, do finishers, show some oracles, I guess was the crystals. There is also to do with finish against, that's on the moon. Void ability, solar ability, or arc ability. It does say moon, but it can actually work in Vex Offensive. So I mean, since it says moon and not Vex Offensive, I guess you can't count them out, but you can also count them in since you could do them there and there was a lot of enemies there, so you were most likely going to do these triumphs in there or challenges. And this is what kept you coming back because you wanted to finish these to get the title, which is actually, I quite like that a little bit more than the new one, Undying instead of Savior. And also the actual emblem itself, or seal marker. So, you know, it entices you to come back and actually do stuff. Which Sundial doesn't really do that, and also they have a legendary version of it, which is a little bit harder, but there's no real reason to play it more than once to get the emblem, because you don't get an increase in rewards, which is really strange that you don't get anything else out of doing legendaries. There's literally no point in doing it more than once, like at all. You don't get anything else than an emblem and the triumph. So why they had another difficulty and that did fuck all with it, I have no idea, but some reason they did. That's kind of what I want to talk about, and hopefully I am wrong with most of these things. Like, all rifles getting a bigger buff than just 3% damage, swords ain't gonna be shit, or shittier. Faction weapons and armor might be coming back like in full instead of just some, but I highly doubt that since I've heard it's gonna be the fan-picked one. So, you know. And yeah, so something I should have mentioned is that faction would have been a great option here. A great thing to have had, mainly because Trials of Osiris is a PvP thing. Yes, we're getting a PvE thing. As I said, it might be a Escalation Protocol-esque event, but what if it's not that good? What if it is something like Sundial? I would say that Sundial was pretty boring, annoying, and for the most part, it didn't really feel rewarding, especially after the Imperium Foundation was introduced and where you could just stand in the tower and donate some frag lines and get a crazy amount of weapons, like just that fast. You could get them really quickly. You could get them a lot quicker than you could if you actually done the Sundials. And I don't know if they made it because they noticed no one played it and like, hey, we're gonna help you speed up the process of getting those weapons, or what it was. I have no idea, because Sundial wasn't that very fun to do, and it could take a long time depending on what the team you had. If you had a team that was really good, obviously I think 2 encounters then the boss, but if you didn't, it could take 3 encounters, maybe 4, and it was not fun. It was just tedious. So if this one is going to be something like Escalation Protocol, I'm not saying the protocol is bad per se. It is kind of tiring, especially in the reward section, since I think you can only get 3 weapons from Escalation Protocol. Yes, there's a ship, a ghost shell, and a sparrow, and I'm still missing the sparrow. But that's about it. Well, armors, obviously. So I'm not exactly sure how this event will actually work, how the reward system will work there. If it's gonna be a copy of paste of Escalation Protocol, but maybe shorter and a bit more difficult. I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work. But if you don't like that, and you just want to do something else and you don't like PvP, faction would have been a great option right there. It would have pleased both, I guess, democratic, those who like PvP and those who like PvE, and sure, those who plays PvP can also do faction bounties, and those who do PvE obviously have a second option to do, because as of now, and I mean right now, I have nothing to do in this game. Sure, here and there I might do raid, and as I said, I'm doing some Sundial now for last time farming, but that's about it. Like, there's nothing else for me to do. Most of the time, as soon as a reset hit, I do all the weekly bounties to get the bright dust, and then I'm just sitting there like, alright, what to do? But with faction right there, I would have something to do. I would have bounties to do, to complete, to get the rewards, and that would entertain, it would entertain me for my playthrough, I guess. And have and not having it like we do now, it's just boring. So faction would have worked really, really well right now, and I don't understand why they didn't think of that at all, and just like, hey, we're gonna bring back some weapons instead. But so anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.